Oh, can you guys hear me? Sorry. Technical difficulties. So I haven't quite um set up everything I usually would set up. Um, I don't have an actual like overlay right now, things like that. I have like only the alerts. That's basically gonna be like the basic right now for this channel. I'll probably put a little bit of an overlay on this. Um, there are other things that I plan on doing on this channel, so I don't want to just focus on like the fun side when it comes to this channel, but there will be a lot of fun things, but it's gonna be again very, very different. Anyway, with that being said, I just realized that I haven't announced in my Discord that I'm live. In my own Discord, my God. Let me announce that. Um, well, I guess it kind of shows that I'm live, but like not really. Wow. Okay. And I don't even know how to like put my own link because that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Anyway, hi guys. Hi, hi, hi. Let me. I don't know if that'll work. No, probably not. How's about we just delete that? Now we'll try again. Haha. I know what to do. Give me a moment. Anyway, I'm trying to bring somebody in real quick. We'll do an actual interview for right now. I know he doesn't have much time because he is on East Coast, so he's 2 hours ahead of me. But um, obviously, I'd like to uh, one, follow myself because I realize I'm not following my own channel. There we go. Ta-da! Look, now I'm following me. Okay. Again, I need to fix all that. But this is what I wanted to do. Let's see. See if we can get some noobs up in here. Just kidding, no. Anyway, so well, with that being said, I am going to move on over to our interview portion. Again, this is Josh. We started talking on X due to I don't know. We were kind of talking about like different like ghosty things. Obviously, like I'm always commenting here and there on different stuff, and he was just all like, "Oh, I've definitely had an experience in a graveyard." And I was like, "You, can I talk to you?" And I thought, what a better way to introduce my new channel and going live than to be on with somebody as a live like an actual live podcast, which I think is like the best idea for me to do, right? But yeah, with that being said, let me go ahead and pull him in. I have him on. Hello, Josh.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, it's going all right. How are you?
Doing all right.
Uh, just want to say thank you for being with me today. Again, you're here as my like debut stream on for here for my new like live podcast kind of thing. Um, I'm happy that you're here.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and I'm happy that I met you. I know like uh I think there's been like some interaction here and there through X, but like not a lot. And then you were like mentioning every that one little weird instance in the graveyard, which you'll get to right now. And I was like, hold on, can we talk? And you're like, yeah, sure, which I highly appreciate. Um, there. So basically, all I am gonna ask as of right now is, do you believe that the strange things that have happened were paranormal?
Most of them, yes. Throughout my life, I've had multiple different experiences, obviously. That graveyard incident you mentioned, definitely, I do believe. I don't think I went crazy for 5 minutes. Um, Definitely could have, easily. But knowing the context of the conversation, how we were just talking about life and everything, everything to do with death, and because I just sat in the graveyard, I was just sitting there facing one direction and felt a tap on my shoulder. It was my left shoulder, and I had somebody ask me what I was doing there.
Wow. Okay.
And I remember sitting there because I was visiting my grandfather. It was a couple months before my grandmother died, and I was talking with him, and then I had the tap on my shoulder, asked me what I was doing there because I think that was the first time I had ever gone since my grandfather had passed a few years back.
Oh wow.
And I thought, oh, it's just one of the cemetery workers or, whatever.
Right.
So just sat and had a conversation with whoever's behind me, not thinking about it. Um, Saying, yeah, I came to see my grandfather. He died, 2018. I haven't been to visit him since. And me and whoever this person was dove, deep into it. And about 5 minutes in, I went to turn to actually, talk face to face with them, and there was nobody there. And from the moment I turned around, the conversation immediately ended. There was no talking, there was no nothing,
Wow.
and I'm pretty sure nobody was that fast. But
Right. Okay. Do you ever
so
like right after that happened, did you have like an uneasy feeling knowing that that seemed to have happened, if that makes sense?
I mean, that was my probably more recent one, other than some of the things that happen around my house. But I've always accepted the paranormal for what it is. I was never really uneasy. I kind of just, when I turned around, I didn't see anybody there. I went, oh, okay. And kind of just went back to saying my goodbyes to my grandfather before I left, and then went back home. I kind of just accepted it for what it was. Somebody in the graveyard, somebody who I guess wanders around, saw somebody they'd never seen before and wanted to know what was going on.
Just questioning you in their space, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, that in itself is, I think everybody is at some point or another has had some kind of experience in a graveyard, something eerie, maybe something float towards them, like, a specific, like, flowers fall coming from somebody else's grave, whatever it may be, and it not being a windy day or things like that. There's always seems to be something eerie about a graveyard, right? Otherwise, people would not care about being there at night. um, but I think you're one of two people that I've spoken to who have said that they've had a full on conversation with somebody who wound up not being there. And I think it takes like a very open, not like open, just open-minded person, but like an open heart on a person, like a type of vulnerability for a spirit to be able to like connect easily, especially if you don't consider yourself like a medium or anything like that, if that makes sense.
I definitely wouldn't consider myself a medium. I don't have the abilities that, you would consider to be a medium. I know members of my family, my great grandmother was very sensitive, I guess is the right word. My
Right.
sister is as well. Um, my sister has only one real ability I can think of, and that's she can see people in photos that aren't there.
Oh, wow.
Um,
I want to talk to her too.
she does it all the time. We'll send her a picture, and she'll go, "Who's that?" And nobody's there.
Wow.
Um, only ability I would say that I could possibly have is I get flashes. Um, depending on certain locations. Many years ago, went to a wedding for my uncle,
Uh-huh.
and his new wife, my current aunt,
Mhm.
her brother lives in a old manor downtown. I live in Virginia, so historical state.
Right, okay.
He lives in a manor downtown that he restored. It was built in 18, I believe 72 is what he said it was. And I remember walking onto the property, and there was a big tree in the backyard that you walk past when you enter the property. And it's gonna get dark for a second, and I remember seeing flashes of people hanging from the tree. Um,
Whoa. Oh, you know what? I've had stuff similar to that.
and knowing it's Virginia, as
Right.
much as it sucks to say it, it was probably a slave hanging tree or a slave hanging tree site.
Right.
I have no idea if that tree was old enough for that. I don't know if that was just the area. Um, but it was definitely. I do know later on I found out that that was indeed a plantation house at one point.
So it would have,
So
unfortunately, two and two together. Yeah.
yeah, and I was kind of like, okay, so that explains that.
Wow. Well, I definitely have more questions because I have a feeling that you have more stories, as uh as your messages suggested.
Just
So
there's a couple.
just give me one moment. So it seems like there's definitely more going on than we planned. And yeah, just starting off with this new episode of Snow's Scary Adventures. Okay, All right, now we're back. So,
All right.
let's see. What was, if you can go back to this, the first time you realized that the paranormal was just part of your normal, if that makes sense?
Well, there was best way to describe it is two really. So I got into paranormal from a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of the old paranormal things on TV. You know, you get Ghost Hunters. There was a show for a while. It was called A Haunting. I used to watch that a
Oh
lot as a
yeah.
kid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really got into paranormal then, and watching those, it made me think about some of the stuff I had seen because the neighborhood that I lived in, I still do today, and I still do see this. There are two shadow figures that like to move around the neighborhood. My sister will see them. I will see them. Um, we even had our late dog, our Great Pyrenees, react to both of them that were standing in the yard at one point. Um, so when I was younger and realizing, oh, that's what these are, it kind of just clicked that there are things that I'm not going to be able to fully comprehend, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can take it for what it is and move on.
That's 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 pretty scary. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
um
it luckily
um
at least the two shadow figures we believe, at least because of rumors and everything, are Civil War soldiers that have not found rest. Um haven't caused anything. They really like to peek around corners. That's their biggest thing. They haven't caused any damage, hasn't
They haven't
attacked
caused any
anybody, so
damage.
we kind of
Hasn't
just
they
leave them
haven't
be.
attacked.
so have you what was the best way to saying it? Have you had sorry, I just realized we kind of echoed right now because I didn't realize I had like another like my own stream up because I was monitoring like you know
Oh yeah.
and it like started
Oh
talking
yeah.
back. I was like, why are you talking to me? Okay, but what was the part that like what was the I guess the best way to say it is what was that like moment that you remember like just from your parents too because obviously you said like your sister will like see things right because she sees things in
Yeah.
photos like when was the moment that like you turned to your parent do you remember that when you kind of like looked at them like is this something that we deal with or you know what I mean.
It really was never really just one moment with my parents because my mom has always been open to it just the same way I am. Um, completely okay with investigating paranormal. Only time she draws a line is she doesn't want any Ouija boards in the house. Completely understandable. Uh,
I am like 100% the same way and I still don't
yep.
understand how people will be so easily okay with like oh well we're gonna just play with this today. It's like, well, why? But
We're just gonna mess with this
my
pentagram. It's like,
question, my question now, right now, is why, and then why, and you know,
yeah, exactly.
like I just, I don't get me wrong. I know some people do automatically feel very safe with like anything that they do on the spiritual side because they're like that family that like raised them that way. Like that's just their actual um what's the best way of saying it? That's like their actual like upbringing, right?
Yeah.
Um so yeah, so and like for me, I was very much brought up in a more um what's the best way? Like conservative Christian household, right? So due to that, it was like okay, are we allowed to talk about this is one of those things like I remember always like for a very long time feeling like I couldn't really talk about seeing something or feeling something or whatever it may be. And and then I thought that it was strange, like I would have like another friend that had like no absolutely no problem with trying to make Ouija board or like and I'm all like, but how what gave you the bravery to think that you could just make a Ouija board? And two, like what is or isn't taught to you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like obviously like our culture really feeds into how we perceive the Ouija board and like any other kind of divination and especially like mediumship and like being psychic and things along those lines. Like what you've described as far as saying like flashes and stuff, like to me that's considered a type of mediumship, right? Like you're able to like get snippets of memories of the space,
Yeah.
right? And I remember the first time I well, goodness, I guess maybe not. I like okay, it's kind of like hard to explain. Like now looking back when I was younger, I used to have a lot of that, but I don't think I ever like put two and two together that that's what was going on. And then
Yeah, never connected the dots.
most recently, I wound up having a like those type of snippets when I was on a battlefield in Tennessee for the Civil War.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was seeing a young man, probably about 17 years old, right? Like running around the corner into like this shed near like a water trough or like feeding trough, right? And like you can tell very much that he was like shot. He's like gripping his like stomach, like he has his arm crossed around his stomach. He's in pain and I can see tears in his eyes. I can see the fear in his eyes and I can see him just kind of collapsing in the corner of this like little shed. And I'm like, did I just did I just witness a memory of something that it actually happened in that moment, like happened right there? And I remember it like almost like I was getting like all of these flashbacks, like walking across this field and things like that. Very like I could see people falling. I can see like people like crawling, like trying to like hide like amongst the bodies rather than like so many things that I wouldn't really think of. And like yeah, okay, we see war movies and stuff like that, but what I was seeing was it did not feel like I was looking at Hollywood. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, it felt more realistic.
it felt extremely, and it was to the point where like I was starting to feel really sick to my stomach and I started crying, like really crying, and I was just like what is going on? And then it clicked that I was having a a basically a psychic experience that I didn't think I would have that deeply that quickly, right? And and I remember when I was saying this because I was with my ex-husband at the time and one of my best friends at the time, and we were just kind of all like talking and chatting about everything that's going on, and he was just like, well, what did you see? What kind of uniform did you see him in? Or like what kind of attire was he in? And I was like, he was in gray. And they're like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, right? Like he was like very
Yeah.
much like, yeah. And I was like, he was in gray. He was like light blonde hair. Like I could fully describe what I was seeing. And that's when my friend was like, yeah, no, I think you're really seeing that. Like. And then I
Oh
pulled
yeah.
up, and then mind you, like I've made it very clear that I like the idea of ghost hunting. I like the idea of trying to communicate and seeing what's about and things like that. And then I pulled out my rods and I walked out of the area that I was in, and I pulled out my dowsing rods, and this is one of the first times that I realized that my dowsing rods I had like a connection. You know how like every medium or psychic, so to speak, or divinator, whatever you want to call them, has like a tool, like their like go-to tool.
Yep.
This was that moment that like I noticed that the tool was the rods for me. And it was because the moment I did, I said, like, I asked out loud, where is the young man who's been shot? Right? And like the moment that I did it, like my rods immediately turned in the direction of the shed that I had seen him in. And I was like, okay, okay. Maybe I am going crazy, but now I don't feel as crazy. You know what I mean? Like
I feel a little bit more
now
sane
it
now.
now it's starting to like just come together a little bit. But I guess again, like I guess I had a fear of having that kind of connection because I wasn't told like, well, yeah, no, that's something that we've dealt with before. Or yes, your grandmother used to be sensitive and she used to be able to recognize things too. Or like I never really had that. What I would have was stories from my family in moments that they had like a supernatural or a paranormal experience where instead of them talking about it as like, yeah, we have this gift, they would talk about it as a curse. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I saw that. Oh yeah, it was terrifying. It was evil. It was this, it was that, because they could literally not just discern that there was spirits, but they could discern what was a negative spirit or what was an unhuman inhuman like spirit about. You know what I mean? Like they could quite literally see something. And
Yeah.
they would always say that it was like that it was very much just like the quote unquote enemy, like trying to mess with them and trying to get them to like to just instill more fear in them and things like that, so they would like get away from like feel like their faith was crumbling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, make them question
Make them
things.
question things, yeah. And and because of that, like I guess I felt a lot of shame in realizing that I had this, but then it started like click more recently this last few years that like I shouldn't feel shame in the spiritual gift that I have because I'm meant to use it to help, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like not everybody has that discernment or can say like like literally walking onto that space and being like, that happened here, and having just a very clear like picture was just like presented to you in your head of something that was happening there. And any other, like, I'm sure like in any other situations, say if you had said something like that to like my family, like my family would be like, oh my god, what was that? You know what I mean? Like, why are you saying that? Like, what's that? Like, well, what are you playing with? Why are you touching the
Are you
keyboard?
okay?
Like, you
Are
know what I
you
mean? Yeah. Like, do you need medication? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they would be like,
start feeling your
oh,
forehead?
right. There would be like a whole bunch of like, what do we need to do? Oh my god, are you possessed? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it would be, the stupidest way, or the most like not stupid, I guess, more ignorant approach to it, right? Um, but and I find it strange, and that's, I guess that's kind of like where I was asking like, how did you know that your family was like not so much on board, but but more open to the thought process that, oh yeah, well, that is how it is, and that's just what we do. Because obviously somebody in a graveyard realizing that they just were talking to themselves would most likely go check themselves in if they would. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
because they would have that thought process of, I don't think this was what I wanted today, or maybe I'm really going crazy, or maybe I need more sleep, or maybe this or maybe that, and they would kind of like go about every other possibility other than the reality that they're in, which is in our mindset that the paranormal is part of the normal.
It's just what is.
Yeah. What?
But
Go ahead.
kind of answering the question, it because I watched so many shows, and my mom would walk in, and I'm sitting there watching, shows, and they're talking about demonic possessions, and then then next thing that they're talking about an angelic feeling. She's always just been open about it and saying pay attention to what people say, pay attention to how people feel. Um, Never has been closed off, especially religiously. I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
religious person. I've fallen out of favor with most religions. And my mom is Christian.
Mm-hmm.
She grew up Christian. She grew up going to church. She took us to church as kids, and she was okay with the idea that I was falling out of favor with it and didn't mind the fact that I'd started to move on to my own belief system.
Okay.
So her only view on it was to take the experiences that I have and what other people have and form what I believe is correct.
Right. Right. Like, and honestly, I think that's a healthy approach. Like, if we're gonna talk on that like note just for like maybe 2 minutes, I feel like
Yeah.
it's a healthy approach to say, you know what, like I have my faith because I have my faith because this is what I have been led to believe. Not based off of what other people have told me, but in my
Yeah,
own
not based on what my
in
parents
my
have
own
shoved into me.
experiences, this is what has made sense to me and has come to be true, right? And I feel
Yep.
like with a when unfortunately, like I feel like like unfortunately again in my situation, like there are a lot of people. Oh, thank you, Paragon. There are a lot of people. Excuse me, I burped. There are a
Oh,
lot of
you're
people in my family that are very much blind followers of Christianity, or and then like other people around me that are just blind followers of the church that they follow or that they've been raised in. And for me, like I have a lot of people that they'll ask me, "Wait, aren't you a Christian?" When I tell them that I'm a little witchy or that I'm, you know what I mean? Like that I
yep.
believe that I know I have mediumship capabilities and things along those lines. I just got interrupted by my child and my cat. Get out, babies.
Hey, you are fine.
I love you. Okay, go. Papa. Where are you going? Oh my goodness. What are you doing? Oh, okay, we want to purr. All right, all right. Okay. I guess he's going to be here right now.
Don't
He's
worry,
going to
I've got my
be
cat at my feet too.
I've got Minnie, but he knows he's not allowed in here, so he's just totally pushing his limits right now. Okay. Um, but what I was saying is, like, especially people who will come at me, especially on social media. They're like, how can you say that you're Christian if you believe that it's okay to do that it's okay to read a tarot or that it's okay to, and I'm all like, no, I don't think you understand my 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 understanding of Christianity. You know what I mean? Like for me, like the church is not a place, it's not a doctrine, it's not, does that make sense? It's very much a faith led spiritual movement, right?
Yep.
And I feel like when people think that their faith means that they all have to be cookie cutter, I think that you're doing a disservice to the gifts that God gave you for a reason, so that you didn't just become a robot, another robot,
Yeah.
right? And that's one of the things where like from everything that I've read and that I've been learning and things like that, one of the things that Christ called out was works without faith, right? Where the Pharisees and other people that would follow in the temple and things like that, yeah, they were burning incense for God. Yeah, they were placing their sacrifices. They were doing their things, but it was all ritual, not faith based. And he
There's
was,
nothing behind it.
there was nothing actually in it, which is why he was upset because he was just like, you're claiming to be children of God, but you have no relationship with God, right? And oh, you're gonna hurt me, Bubba. Get your claw out. Thank you. Oh, he had his claw right in my thigh. Oh, he's not figured those out yet. He's only over a year old, so he acts like a stupid still.
Oh yeah, that'll last a little while.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. If you want to be up here, get over here. Come here. Okay, never mind. Oh my god. Oh, it's because he's gonna start jumping. I just don't want him to break anything in here. Honestly, I don't care. I don't care if he's in here. I just know that he starts attacking my stuff. There he goes. He's scratching at my chair. Fantastic. Can you not? Okay. Okay, but back to that, like, that's when it started to click. Cause for me, I've always like, by faith, come like it. I've never read the Bible without having a deep meditative prayer prior to opening it. And a lot of people will just open it immediately without realizing, like, you're supposed to be ready to receive what you're going to read, right? And you're not always ready to receive if all you hear is, like, Mohammed, like, you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? Like, you're like, I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
I don't understand what that
You
means,
might
but okay, thank you, Jesus. Okay, amen. You know what I mean? Like, what
you
do
might
you...
hear the message, but you don't understand the
Right,
message.
right. So it's like, how can you read that without being ready to receive the word as 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 guidance for yourself in your situation, right? So I've always had it like, I would pray, and I've been doing this since I was younger, like, and I never realized it was it's divination, right? I would pray deeply. I would pray deeply, so deeply that I would start feeling like almost every emotion like swell up, like I could feel myself filled with something higher than me. And then I'd open the book looking for the answer. And every time I would open it, I wouldn't open it like knowing where to go. I would open it and just kind of flip into the page and then wait until I landed where I was supposed to be. And every time I would get an exact answer to what it is that I was going through. And I would be like, oh wow, okay. Like, like,
Yeah.
and I don't, and my, like, I can tell you 100% that my family doesn't understand that. Like, they don't understand that's why the Bible was given to us. It wasn't given to us just for us to read the stories, but for us to understand what part of those stories pertain to our situation. Not because we memorized Psalms 23 or memorized what Job went through or memorized, right? But because we actually went through that verse that was meant to be spoken to us, right?
It's what most people don't understand. It's not. It's a guide to
Right,
help you get through. It's not an instruction manual.
right, right. Actually, and then, oh, there's a lot more I can go to, and that would be a more theological conversation, which I don't really care to get into. The point is that since then I realized that by faith, like, God was never upset, or like Christ either was never upset that you would use oil, burn candles, burn incense, present something to him at an altar. He was never upset about that. He was upset that it was being brought to him without faith, without intent, without the hope of getting closer to him in the moment of doing it, right? There is scripture that says all like everything that's planted on all herbs and everything is for our use, however we need to use it, right? Like, it's like we are given dominion over the things of the earth, and how we choose to use those, so long as we're following our faith and understanding that through our own relationship with God, not what somebody else tells us we should do, that it like, he could give us grace in that space for that reason, only for us, only for one person. Like, like every person has their own individual walk, right? And that's just in general. So, like, the fact that your mom was very much like, no, go do it, go figure that out, like, because that's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? I can't expect you to be like, oh yeah, sure, I love doing this. Let's do it every Sunday. Hymnal, 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 hymnal. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, for some people, that structure is exactly what they need. But for a lot of people, there's no understanding of, well, why am I here though? Why am I here though? Especially if, unfortunately, you're in a space that makes you feel more judged than than you feeling like you're walking into a space where you're being permitted grace and guidance. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, and I think unfortunately that's where a lot of people fall out of church. Now, whether they fall out of believing in something higher than them, not usually. You know what I mean? But they will fall out of the church because unfortunately it became what Christ was fighting in the first place. Full of Pharisees and full of heretics and people who don't really know the purpose of why we do church, or why, you know what I mean? And it's really
Yeah. The people
unfortunate.
who are
It's
just
really
doing as they're
unfortunate.
told.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying the people who are just doing as they're told.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it. Like. And oh my God. Now I have. Who is in here? It's all my boys. I have. Okay. So I have. I have.
You have the menagerie.
I do. I have. This is Dean. Hold on. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
hello.
Hello. That's Dean. And hold on. He's little. He's only about 2.5 months. And then this is my old boy. This is Gurgi.
Oh.
And he's about 15 years, almost 16.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Papa. You be careful. You be careful. Hey, you be good to him. Get down. He don't like it. Okay. Um, but it's literally my boys who came in here. I have five. I have 5 pets, 5 fur babies, and I've got the 3 boys that are here, the cat and the. Hey, stop doing that, dummy. And and then I've got another female cat, and then I've got the other female dog, and they're both black, which is funny. But anyway, it's funny. Of course, it was all the boys that decided to come. Where's mom? You know what I mean?
Yeah, where's she at?
Where's she at? Yeah, they're they're
What's she doing?
they're
Why she in here?
they're the cheaple ones. That's the way we say that. The little spoiled babies. The boys are the ones that want the most attention all the time. It's pretty funny.
Male animals seem to like the attention more.
Yeah. And then yeah. Oh my God, I'm gonna start getting itchy because my cat's in here, and I don't think I took my medicine this morning, or my allergy medicine.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'll be fine. Um. Yeah, but I think being able to confront something paranormal comes from like a I can't say a vulnerability, but more of a strength that kind of like um that helps you recognize that you are greater than whatever it is that you're experiencing, if that makes sense. Like that nothing that's coming around you is going to have more control over you other than your own thought about it, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
like you could either let your thought go into, "Oh my God, like how dare, like who was I talking to? Oh my God, am I going crazy? Oh my God," like, right? Like you could have gone there. Or why did I see that? Why am I thinking that? Oh my God, am I thinking on the wrong way? Like you start questioning your thought rather than the experience. But
Yeah.
for somebody to be able to be like, "Huh, that was interesting." That was you quite literally just taking in the experience without having to add more to it other than that was the experience. That was that moment and that was it.
I mean, it definitely helps when if you can identify kind of the energy you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, just running quickly back to that graveyard, I'll compare it to another story I have. But having that conversation, I didn't feel any hatred. I didn't feel any anger. I didn't feel any threat. I just felt like I was having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Whereas I have had an experience where me and my buddies went somewhere and it was about an hour of nothing happening, walking around, asking questions, stupid things, we with your little recorder trying to get stuff.
See if you can grab an
Uh,
EVP or anything. Yeah.
yeah, just what you do when you're young. And then I got yanked on the shoulder. And when I got yanked, I felt best way to describe it is that feeling you get right before you get into a fight with somebody.
Oh,
My body immediately got amped up. My
like fight
body
or flight kind of thing.
immediately, yeah, was immediately ready to jump into something because it sensed danger. And I got out of there. I that is
Hey, get out. Sorry, not you, but I mean you too. But like,
that was the only time I ever ran from a place because it was the physical yank that was there, which would have been one thing, but it was the emotional feeling that came with it of I don't want you here.
oh wow, I think that's a serious like whatever was there, you felt that like get out from it,
Yeah.
basically.
It when it interacted in it pressed whatever energy it had into that action of yanking me back. It put everything it had into it and I felt it and it scared the shit out of me and I ran.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a few. Oh, there it goes.
Bless you.
There it goes. Okay, there's been a few instances where I've had like a physical situation, and one of the most recent ones was probably the most terrifying. But I would say most of them haven't been really anything. Like I've had the sleep paralysis where I feel like I can't move.
Oh yeah.
Or more like I couldn't wake up. I have a different I don't exactly have paralysis. I have just like I'm stuck in sleep. Like my body could go, but I couldn't. It was weird. It was very strange. But and I say that because like yeah, I could quite literally like that's how I would wake myself up. Like I would get myself like moving hard in the bed so I would wake myself up. It was
Yeah.
very strange, but there were other instances that it was like I'm getting ready to go to sleep and I could like hear like somebody's trying to talk to me and I'm like, oh my god, leave me alone. Like, you know what I mean?
Like
Like
I am trying to sleep.
yeah, or like, can we talk about this tomorrow? Like I'd be very much like, can you not? Like but and then one time, and I've said it on my streams before on my other channel, I actually got like hit in the face with what felt like a book. But like
Oh yeah.
but it wasn't like an actual book. Like it was very much like whatever item that they had with them at all times. If that you know what I mean, like a diary or
Yeah,
whatever.
like a diary briefcase.
Yeah, and she just like, and I knew I could see who it was and what she was, and it was like a journal. It was like a journal, and she's like a Victorian woman who likes to come about and hang out with me, and she like literally whacked me in the face because I guess she wanted attention and I wasn't listening to her, And I'm trying to go to
Pay attention to
sleep.
me, bitch.
I was trying to go to sleep, and then like immediately, like a bunk right into my forehead. I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" And I was just like, "Hey," and I just kind of like, I just like opened my eyes, like, "Hey, that's mean. You didn't have to do that." And I was just like, "I'm going to sleep now. Leave me alone." And then she did, like but it was very like, "What the hell?" But like in my mind's eye, I saw the moment. Does that make sense? I saw the woman
Yeah.
in a Victorian gown. She's kind of probably about my age. Um, but unfortunately, obviously, like past then, and then just like whacked me. I don't. And it was just like it was more like she was just trying to see. I honestly, I didn't get the intent of like. I never got the feeling that her intent was to hurt me or to like bother me, but to see what she could do. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like
To
she
test
was like,
what she had the ability for.
yeah, she was just like, huh, can I do this? Like, I think she was honestly not realizing that she was gonna hurt me. Like that's how I saw that. More like a little kid, like, can I pull that down? Can I, you know what I mean? Like,
And I pick up missing milk
where's my
same way.
strength? Yeah,
Yeah.
where's my strength? And then all of a sudden, boom, she hits me. I was like, hey, and I think like and that was like a physical thing that I can say I couldn't explain other than that was definitely a paranormal. That was not me thinking it happened, nothing. Like, because I remember, like, even, like, kind of rubbing my head and feeling like, what the hell just happened? And, like,
Did I
having
drop
kind of,
something?
like,
Did I knock something over?
yeah, it was the strangest thing. And I just kind of look around my room, like, did something fall off my wall? Like, what the heck? Like, like, I could not figure it
Yep.
out. And then I was just like, yeah, no, it was what I saw with my mind's eye, right? And then, but then after that, I would say maybe about 2 months ago, I had an experience where I felt like something was holding my own hands against myself, because I was like kind of like tucked in with my hands near my throat, right? I was
Yeah.
kind of like tucked in all comfy, and then all of a sudden my hands were being pushed into my throat. And I was just like, what the heck? And I was like, like I was hearing myself, like, and that's how I woke myself up. I was hearing myself struggling. And I was like, that's weird. That was, and I remember thinking, like, none of that made sense. And the crazier part is my daughters both said that same night they thought they saw a shadow figure. Both of them different times. And I was like,
Oh yeah.
oh fuck.
Never doubt the kids.
I was like, fantastic. Fuck you. Like, get out. Who said you could be here?
So
Like,
you were
God.
being asked.
Rude. Okay, out, Gergie. You know what? I'm actually going to be right back, but I do have a lot of questions. A lot more, because I know you have other things to share. So I want to know. But give me one quick moment. I'm going to go to the Be Right Back screen, and I'm going to get this puppy out of here and get myself a water. I'll be right back.
Hey, you're good.
like I came back just in time, I think. There's a thought process. Okay. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
All right.
Just sitting here petting the cat.
Oh, you're petting your cat too. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know you said that you remember like the first like or the strangest experience was the tree. Um, and obviously being touched. That's how old were you when that happened? Like what? I mean, I'm
I was
assuming you were
probably
looking at abounding
16,
space or
17.
what? 16, 17? Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, that was about right.
How about that's about
I
right? Kind
mean,
of being a little dumb kid and
I remember I was
enjoying.
still in high school, so
Yeah. Um, I say dumb kid. Yeah, I'm like I still like go I go like hunting and shit. Like I'm not like it's you know like I'm not aware of the consequences.
it's a dumb kid going to places you don't know and
Yeah.
don't know where.
Well, I guess that's the benefit. It's not like I'm going to places that are unknown.
Yep.
So I guess that's where I use my adult skills. I know that these are spaces that are okay or safer technically. I don't really know if I can what's the best way of saying it? I don't know if I can say that I'm not planning on going somewhere that's just kind of weird. um, but I think if I admit it, it may mean that I could get in trouble for potential for trespassing. I don't know. Obviously, we don't want that, but right.
No.
Right. um, but yeah, so I have been considering a few places that are uh, known, but technically off limits. I did go to a place close by. Um, it was a burnt down house that has an underground school bus that has a legend attached to it. I'm not sure how real it is, but it's very strange. And when you go to it, like it burned down in like the 80s. And you go do it, and it's still there, just as is. Like nobody, and
By accident,
it's near somebody else's land, and nobody sought to like fix it, change the land, clean it up, nothing. And
knock
it's
it down, anything.
yeah, and I mean, and mind you, it is kind of out in the desert, but it's still that literally there's a neighbor literally like within 500 yards of it, you know? So it's very strange to see something. Oh shit, there's one that's even closer. There's another neighbor right behind it that's even closer. It's very strange to see this structure still there. And then you know the history behind it. So it's like, huh, how did that how did nobody think to try to fix it? Is the best way of saying
Yeah,
it.
how did nobody take it on themselves?
Yeah, or just the city, like actually clean it up. It's a fire. It's a, you know what I mean? It's rubble from a fire. Like, how would that not be like bulldozed?
Hmm.
Right? Like that's land again. If it's open land, it technically
If
doesn't
nobody else
belong to
wants it,
anybody
yeah.
anymore. Yeah, like why not open up the land and then try to have it utilized again? It's just strange. But anyway, we did go out there recently, and later, I think a few nights later we realized, yeah, it seems like something attached. It seemed like something followed us home.
Oh yeah.
And I think it was actually around the time that I told you that stuff happened. So it seemed, and the thing is, like, the story that is to that is a very dark story. So I wonder if it that is what followed us, you know, which is another thing.
Something decided to
Have
hitch
you
a ride.
ever go ahead?
Oh no, I just said something decided to hitch a ride.
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever it's so funny because you think of like the haunted mansion. They're like, careful, they might hitch a ride and yada yada, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like, no, no, you don't realize like that's really true. Like,
Yeah, you
careful.
really don't want that.
Like, and people don't realize that they are the Uber. Like they are, you know what I mean? Like Like,
you are the taxi. You are
you
the
are the
airplane.
taxi.
You
Like, your vessel can be easy to, like, hop onto if you're not careful. And on that note, have you ever had a situation when you knew you were followed?
I've never been followed home. I know for a fact I was followed around a town, however. Um, so it was my senior year of high school. Me and my family, we went on a little mini road trip.
Mm,
We went up to Harper's Ferry in West Virginia.
mm,
Um, Harper's Ferry is a very historic town. Lots of bad things went down there. You got the John Brown raids. You got Civil War about problems going on.
mhm.
Um, and before we went, I went by our local Walmart and I picked up a digital recorder.
Okay.
Uh, Going into one of the museums, decided to turn it on, and for the entire time that we were in the museum, the recorder had somebody breathing into it,
Oh my god.
and I had the recorder down by my waist the entire time as we're walking around. I had it in my hand, down by my waist, and the entire time that we were going through it, you could just hear that whole time. Um, so something wanted to follow me around. I wish I
That
still had
was
the
weird.
recording. My
You're
computer completely crapped the bed, but
oh, is that what just happened?
oh no 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 no.
Oh, no, it was weird because I think you were imitating the breathing, right? But like it
Yeah.
didn't pick any of that up. That was weird.
Oh okay.
No, it was weird. That's weird. You know, and honestly, I think Discord also does that too, though. Like Discord, like has like a very like AI like monitoring, so it thinks, oh, it's he's just breathing. You know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
realizing
So
that
let's,
you're
so let's just
like,
cut that. Yeah.
yeah. That's so weird. Okay, but it's strange because it kind of like picks and chooses when it's gonna happen.
Yep.
So it's so weird. Um, maybe that thing is still near you. I'm just kidding. It's like, don't
I mean,
tell
if
him
it
about
is, then
me.
if it is, it might. I don't know. It doesn't.
Rude.
It hasn't done it.
um.
Oh,
So then you kept
no,
hearing
that's
it as you were walking through the museum, and just the museum.
so we after we left the museum, we went out and we got some dinner, and then we came back to Harper's Ferry later that night to do a little ghost walkthrough of the town itself. They do little haunted tour, type things where they got, their guide and
Mm-hmm.
tells you the history of places. And while we were waiting for the guide to show up, I sat there and I listened to it. And I remember vividly my mom and dad, when they pulled it out and I was going to listen to it, they laughed and said, "You probably not didn't get anything." And then I hit play, and you immediately hear the breathing, and they both snapped their heads to me and went, "What the hell was that?"
Ew.
um,
Like I farted. I'm just
Later
kidding.
for 20 minutes. No. fo- uh,
Sorry, lunch hit me bad.
later later on, I decided to run the recorder again. This is kind of in a downtime where we all had, where the guide gave everybody a chance to do whatever they, wanted to do. Um, I caught a laugh.
Whoa,
Uh,
that I think
yeah.
that would get me. I think.
Um,
Oof.
so caught a laugh, and then my mom caught a shadow figure in the window of a building that had no lights on, and there was a light on in the window in the
Ugh,
picture, and there's no lights on.
no.
Um, so that was fun.
Oh my god, no. Ooh, sorry.
uh, that whole town was kind of, I wouldn't say it had negative energy to it. It
Maybe
definitely had
heavy.
energy. Yeah, heavy is a good way to put it. There were one or two buildings that had a heavier. I wouldn't say it was negative. per se. It might have been a little bit upset that its home has
Okay.
been turned into a tourist attraction, maybe.
Ah, so more like
But
like bothered rather than like
yeah,
okay.
rather than just pure pissed and anger,
Okay.
just like, more people.
Wow.
But that's probably my biggest one of being followed was Harper's Ferry. I
Did
wish I
you
still had the audio file, but my computer shit the bed about a year ago, and I had to complete factory reset it. So
Oh no.
yeah, lost all that.
So did okay, I guess I have questions. Okay. Um so the other question I have is you said that it was following you. So you heard that there, but do you believe that it was following just you, or do you think like this stuff was happening like with your family because this is how like your mom saw things and things like that too? You know?
Well, at least in the museum, I know for a fact that it was mainly just following me because I
Okay.
kind of stuck well behind my parents.
Mm-hmm.
That way, I knew that there was a chance of interference on the recording, so I tried to stick a little bit further back.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it was sticking pretty close to me. Not with them. They didn't feel anything. They didn't do anything. So I can't say for the rest of it. My mom didn't say she felt anything throughout the night. My dad never really had any experiences that day. Um, my mom's was the biggest one was the picture of the building,
Yeah.
which she was just taking pictures throughout the entire thing, and then goes, "Hey, what's that?"
Yeah, sometimes I know I recently caught like a shadow or like the silhouette of like a person in a building that was burned down, and it's also a building that was known to have a very negative spirit in it. And it's like it's even on like Ghost Adventures. They actually did come here and like they have like a really crazy footage from that actual building. And then um like other people that have gone into that building have had like huge experiences. Like they are like undeniably something that is trying to find a way to fuck with them, you know?
Yeah,
It's really really creepy. Um at any rate, um what was I going to say? Did ah I did have a question. It is there. Hold on. um who would you say in your family out of like your mom or dad, who would you say you would have gotten this sensitivity from?
it was definitely from my mom's side. My dad's side, I don't know a lot about my dad's side. To be fair, that's a dark side of the history we don't dive into much.
Okay, okay, okay.
uh, just uh,
Oh.
most of that doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
Um, give an idea of Germany 1940s.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Oh yeah. Um, so
Well,
we
or
don't
even more of
put
a
that side
reason on
much.
why you're possibly exposed to more. Ugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I knew that on my mom's side, my great grandmother was very sensitive. Because she would talk about it with my sister all the time.
Oh, because
Um,
she saw the things in the pictures.
because my sister would see things, and then my grandma would say, "Oh, so you see Jim?" and
Oh, I
it's
get
like,
it.
and she was
Right.
like, "Who's
She'd
Jim?"
be like, that guy. Yeah. So I get
Yeah.
it. Right.
Um,
So she could like so your grandma like very very clearly was like a medium but would kind of keep it on the low. So she was sensitive.
yeah.
Right.
She,
Mhm.
mom and her mom would always act like she was just nuts. My great grandma just,
Oh, thank
getting
you for
in
the
her
subscribe.
90s. Everyone, 90, 97 years old. Woohoo. Um, but then my sister would get in there and it would be all hush hush. And so, like, so you saw this, right?
Mhm.
I didn't know my great grandmother too much before she passed. She passed when I was like 3, but knowing that it was there on that side of the family is helpful to know, and knowing that my sister has the same kind of thing has always been reassuring.
It's definitely a Hereditary. Oh, that's scary. That's a scary movie. Okay,
A great movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's definitely a trait that quite easily could have fallen into you, and it's just more like, well, we don't really know how to handle it yet because grandma
Yep.
kind of kept it hush. Yeah. Or great grandma, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my camera keeps going in and out. Okay, one fun fact that I'm gonna share with you. Oops, don't fall over, camera. What's going on? Okay, there we go. One fun fact is every time my camera starts to like zoom in and out and like keeps trying to like focus, it is like it's usually like an entity that's coming about that's trying to grab my attention. Um, and that's just kind of been like the space. Like since I've started streaming in this particular room, I've gotten I'll get visitors, and that's what I call them, visitors. You know, it's like they. Have you ever seen the movie Ghost? I'm hoping that you have.
Yeah.
Okay, you know when what is it? Eula May, is that the name of the Whoopi Goldberg character?
Yes, I think so.
Something like that. So she she winds up seeing everybody like in her room all of a sudden, right? And she's like, "Oh
Yep.
my god," because she's like she knows that there's like, well, it's not that she sees them. She just knows that they're there, and they're like there's like a whole group of them like hanging about because they're like waiting their turn to like try to get through with her, right? I think that's what started happening once I recognized that I had the gift and I started to like allow myself to channel and like open up for communication and like things like that. You know what I mean? So every once in a while, I'll start getting the flashes in my camera, and then I'll be like, "Oh my god, is somebody around? Somebody here? Somebody want to talk?" But I haven't. But I usually have to pull out my rods to like start the session because that's when I can start channeling. Remember how I said everybody has like their tool?
Yeah.
Hold on, I have I have a bag. I have a bag under my wheel because the cat was playing with it and it got caught under my wheel right now. Hold on, let me stand and move that out of the way. Oh my god. Okay, now we definitely they are out, but like now I have to clean up what they played with. Um, goodness me. What I was gonna say though is I have my REM pod behind me, so I think I'm gonna turn that on real quick, and then we're gonna finish having this conversation. We're gonna see if anybody wants to try to play with that. So just give me a moment.
Okay.
You're like, I know what that is.
Yeah.
Oh, stuck. Okay, be good. Oh my god. Well, okay, if there's. Oh. All right. If you see me get scared, you'll know. And it's funny because I don't always get scared, but there are times that I just kind of jump with it because I'm like, oh my god, what was that? But yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna just call it out if there's anyone coming to visit and trying to communicate. There's a red light on behind me. Um, Go ahead and touch that if you'd like to just kind of be a part of the conversation. Okay. At any rate, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I have had a few streams in my last stream that had that going off, and I was like, oh my god. But and it's pretty cool, but like at the same time, it's also like, all right, well, like you're in my house now, though. Like, you know what I mean?
Like you're in my face
I
now.
kind of need to sleep. You know, things like that. It's pretty funny. At any rate, have you ever considered like testing what you see? Because obviously you said that you got confirmation of that space in Virginia, right? That plantation.
Yeah.
But have you ever had like a a curiosity to see if maybe like this is something that you just haven't um allowed to turn on yet? Does that make sense? Like this is something that you've just kind of kept as a hidden talent.
It's more so something that I know can happen, so I just kind of let it run in the background.
Okay.
Um, Way of kind of putting it in perspective. It's like I'm letting ad blocker run in the back. Um, I'm
Yeah, I get it.
just yeah, I know it can be there. I've never really sought out trying to do it. I've had it happen a few times here and there. Um, but I've never gone somewhere with the intention of it happening.
Okay. Has aside from the tree, has there ever been a moment where you notice something and then later on get kind of told like no, no, that was all in your head?
The only one that I was told was all in my head was was many years ago. It was we were driving down to a beach, and I remember we passed another cemetery, and I saw a group of people, and I had commented. I said, "Oh, looks like there's a funeral." And my mom, who was in the front passenger seat, looked over, and then she said, "There's no funeral going on."
Like there's nothing there. That's
Yeah, there's
weird.
nothing there. What are you talking about? And then I blinked and there was nothing there.
Oh, weird.
And I don't know if that truly was in my head because my sister wasn't with me that time. She's seen things like that before where she'll drive past a cemetery and there's just people standing in the cemetery not moving. Um,
Wow.
but that was the only cemetery one. That was the only one I was ever told that I might be seeing things. I might not. The only other one that I had with another person was with my uncle, and because he was a Civil War buff, so he when I was younger, he would take me to battlefields,
Mhm.
and I remember seeing a flash. We were by some of the trenches and seeing a flash of four bodies in the trench
Oh god.
on top of each other.
Yeah, like they were just like thrown on top of each other.
Yeah,
Oh.
and the one on top he had it looked like he had tried to vault over the ramparts, like in Civil War battlefields they have the
Yeah.
wooden palisades set up everywhere, especially around trenches and everything. It looked like he had tried to vault that and gotten cut down
Oh
uh,
shit.
while going.
Oof.
And I saw that flash, and I told him, and he looked at where we were, and he said, "That's a very real possibility because this is where they fell back to when the Confederates launched a counterattack during the battle."
Oh wow. So like
So I remember
it would
that day.
just make sense that that's the moment that that
Yeah,
would be the space.
like
Wow.
seeing it in the trench right there just makes sense. The only places I've ever had it happen seem to be places where you would expect a lot of energy to be,
Mhm.
whether it be, for instance, the slave plantation. There's a lot of hatred, there's a lot of anger,
Ignorance
there's a lot of
doesn't help.
sadness. Oh, and then obviously battlefields.
I feel like ignorance fuels fear, which fuels hatred. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, once you're ignorant, like the everything kind of flows. And
Yep.
again, all of the people who just kind of went with the flow of this is just how it is. Unfortunately, right? Um, wow. I don't think, you know, I know when I was a kid, there were things that I would see and I couldn't, and there's times that I kind of go back and I think, like, wait, did I see something that wasn't there? Like, like I had to kind of think back. Like, how much of my childhood was a real person talking to me? Or,
Yeah.
like, or how much was it like something else just so, or someone else just trying to have a conversation with me, realizing that I could talk to them. I think that's kind of crazy. And like, just based off of what you were saying, again, you and one other person that I know that had a full, and funny, a similar situation where somebody was standing behind you. I find that interesting. Like, because this guy, he does say, it's in one of my previous podcasts, like, in case you ever want to like check it out, the Ogden one, but he talks about a guy standing right behind him, and he has a full on conversation, and then realizes that nobody was behind him, and then he himself was more like, oh my god, what the hell was that? Like, he was a little bit more like, and mind you, he's like very open minded, because he did kind of go on those tours and things like that, and he does know that there are paranormal and supernatural experiences to be had and things like that. Like, he's very much in that mindset. So he was, but the fact that he was extremely thrown by it. He was just like, hold the phone. Who was I talking to? And like everybody there had to like kind of like assure him, like, no, it was like no, for real, there was nobody there. Like, we're not pranking you. We're not trying to mess. There was nobody there. And I feel like maybe there is some type of energy that you naturally give that makes it easy for you to have the conversation, you know? And I wonder, maybe, do you think there were ever any other times that you probably had a conversation in public and didn't realize that they weren't there?
There very easily could have been. Um, you know, so many different things happen throughout, your life. You never really go back and think, especially in this situation, never go back and think, I wonder if that person was actually there. Um, but it very well could have been that I could have just been sitting on a park bench somewhere one time, and the person I thought was next to me wasn't actually next to me.
Yeah, we have a situation here of a person that's seen on a park bench often. And the cool thing is, at one point, I was taking video, and I got a flash in the location of that bench where the person is seen. Like, I got like a little like
Yeah.
quick, like a little like sparkle kind of thing in that one
Yep, like
spot.
a
It was
little
very
light
weird.
anomaly.
Yeah. And I was like, huh, okay. Maybe he is there.
Maybe there's something to the story.
Mm-hmm. That's just really interesting. And would you ever be interested in going on like a professional like hunt, or like, I can't say professional because I feel like nobody can really say that they're professional. They're just more active. Does
Yeah,
that make
they've just
sense?
done more
They've
and
just done
got more
more. Yeah,
experience.
they have more experiences because they've been out more. But I really can't say that
Yep, I
any
mean, I definitely
any
wouldn't say no to it. Like, if that opportunity ever presented itself and I was in a position to accept it, I would probably 99% sure I would say yes.
And you're still in Virginia, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. If I ever make my way out there, I'll be like, all right, let's go. Let's go. You're gonna be you're part of the crew. I think I might start doing that. I think I might like save up here and there for random, like, only like 2 day experiences in like a new city, to like meet other people that I know that are interested in hunting, and just kind of see how it can go. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's
Just
go.
see
Let's
what's
go
out
see
there.
what we find out here. Yeah, just kind of pull together a little crew. Oh, hi, Sylvia. How are you? Very cool. Very cool. Thank you for coming to my new channel. Sorry, it's somebody I used to work with. That's exciting.
Oh, very nice.
Let me see. Ah, thanks. Let me see too. She's actually. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the follow. Thank you. Thank you. I'm assuming you're following on Kick. I appreciate that. Um, yeah. So Sylvia actually went on one of my hunts previously. She's actually, if you go to my Snow Scary Adventures on YouTube, you'll see a spirit box session, and she's the one that's sitting with me and hearing it along with me. And no lie, and she can attest to that too. It was a continuous conversation. There was it was really cool. It was like, wow, that is a lot. You want to go again? Now that you're like, oh, that's true, because last time she was all gimpy. She had a little cane and everything. It was so cute.
Oh, well,
But
at least you had a weapon.
she did have a weapon, thank goodness. But there was this one part where like, and you can see it in the thing, but I'm like, who's there? Right? Because somebody kind of like comes into our space, but we're supposed to be like kind of have the space to ourselves technically. And I'm like, who's that? Or something like that. And then all of a sudden in the spirit box you hear, who's there? It's really funny. And I was just like, can they get out or can they leave? And it says leave. Like,
It's just
you
like,
know what I
okay.
mean? Like, yeah, they're also like like in agreement that those people got to get out because we're trying to have a conversation here. Like, it was really funny. Yeah, the jail was nuts. See, I haven't posted um my Estes method because it wound up being
Ooh.
a crazy. So right after the Estes method, there was a man that wound up stopping. He's kind of like a security, like a patrol for the area, and he was like, "Thank you, Benna," and he was like, um, "Guess what? Like I know who that is." Like you know what I mean? It was just very like, "Whoa, what?"
Well, that's
He was
pretty
just
much
all
every
like, that
time.
sounds like you're talking about, and then he explained the situation. I don't want to give it away, but he explained the situation. He was just all like, I think you were talking to so and so, and we were like, what? Like he like completely confirmed like the end of a part of a conversation I was having, and it wound up being creepier than planned, and it was like, wow, okay, well we're good now, thanks, you know. And it was like our last part of it, so we wound up leaving at that point anyway. But yeah, there was a few parts of that session that was interesting. I think there was another session where um there's like so there's different buildings, right? And it's like a small town. It's a town. I think now it's considered a city. Now, no, it's still a town. It's officially a town now, but it's historic. It's like it was founded in 1598, and and there's like a lot of like dark, like morbid history that happened there. Like quite literally a man torn apart over after some like political disagreements. Like literally torn apart. So if that doesn't tell you that they were a little twisted, I don't know what would. But
Yeah.
but it was just like the whole area has like a heaviness to it, and that's something that we've noticed too. And it's like it's some parts we need to go to the hanging tree. See, so she talks about the hanging tree. So there was this. So in this particular town, it's called San Elizario. This town has the first international highway between Mexico and the United States. So in that one quote unquote highway, and I say highway, but really trail, right? Like known main trail, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, on that particular path, there was the hanging tree from the American side, basically showing anybody who's coming in, if you fuck up, this is your fate.
Yeah. This is what we're gonna do to you.
Like careful, yeah. Like don't mess with Texas kind of thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, so and we didn't get the chance to go to there because the official tree is now on somebody's private property, so you're not really able to like go on it. Oh, thank you for the follow. You're not really able to go on it anymore. But um that being said, you can still like uh you can still have access to it or get near it enough because it's actually like a few feet from a just a chain link fence that's keeping it from being approached, you know.
Yeah.
So we definitely do have to do that. You're right, Sylvia. We definitely should. What is that? Nurse 13? Is that what I see? Thank you. Thank you for the follow. I don't know where that's coming from. Hold on, let me see. Is that on Geek or is that on Twitch? I have to double check because like I'm not getting exactly um like
Not telling you
everything.
exactly where it's
Nanners. Oh,
coming
there we
from.
go. Nanners 13. Watching on YouTube. I didn't know you went to Kick. Yes, I did. I am now on Kick also. I'm spreading my wings. I'm here to fly. Just kidding. I'm all just kidding. Um, but yeah, at any rate, it's been definitely its own journey to figure out how I can do. We couldn't go because my gimpy leg. Yeah, that's right. It was too far for her gimpy leg. How like how much I can attract things, but that's why I'm curious because I want to know if you're a person who quite easily has the sensitivity, then maybe just maybe you should be more involved. You know what I mean? Like maybe allow yourself to channel that gift, and especially in a hunt or something like just nearby. Because I mean, you're in Virginia. Come on, there's definitely something near you too.
Everything nearby.
Like,
I
yeah.
go walk downtown and I'll feel it. Uh,
Walk where? Downhill? Is that what you just said?
no, downtown.
Oh, downtown. Oh yeah. So what is it? Where is one space near you that you automatically know something's going on there and you just haven't been there yet?
um, there. Ooh, there is this one. There is a house. So about 5 minutes from where I live, there is a house that is just sitting out, kind of like in little marshland area. It is completely falling apart, but it's been there since I was a kid, and everybody around the area that I've asked has said it's been there since they were a kid. Nobody's touched it. Nobody is allowed to touch it, and it is completely sealed off.
That's weird.
I'm told it is a historic home that nobody has restored. I don't know if that is true or not, but every time we drive past, I get a weird feeling.
It's
I don't know.
another Lizzie Borden house. And people don't want to talk
like
about it.
if it was even we even had our local mall that was sitting like 600 yards away from it, and nobody ever did anything with it. So it was right next to a massive commercial area. It still is, and nobody's touched it. Nobody's gone near it. Nobody's done anything.
That's strange. There are I'm good. I just hit myself. Um there have been instances of like homes like that I've like or like I feel like I'm being watched out the window and I'm like, nah, there's somebody right there. Like, you know, like you can't
Like
like
there's
deny that there's definitely energy coming from that space.
there's something going on there that's not letting it happen.
Mhm. That's strange. And have you done any like of your own research like through like newspaper clippings, things like that? You know what I mean? Like your own like what happened in this area in
I've tried to find things about it. The only thing that I really found about it was years ago. There was a newspaper clipping about some kids that ran in there, and one of them broke off a brick on a wall and hurt himself.
That's strange.
That's the only thing I know that I saw about it. There's people saying that it was a house that was moved from a different location to this location.
That's interesting too. I've heard of that. I've heard of people like kind of like lifting a house and then moving it into a new one.
Yeah,
But I'm like,
there was
how do
talk
people
that
do that? But I guess
they
it
just moved this
happens.
historic house and just placed it there, and then nobody's done anything to it. Um,
Wow.
so it's always been this kind of just mystery that's just sitting there.
Hmm. Should be like you should see if it's for sale and make it like a haunted attraction. No.
I wish if I was able to do it, the amount of work that you would have to put into it. Because when I tell you it's falling apart, it is.
Like scary, like you can see like things like crumbling in front of you.
Yeah, like you can see like the bent foundation and the cracks in it, and like
Oh
if
wow.
four people walk through it at the same time, the entire thing would crumble.
Oh wow. Yeah, no, I wouldn't want that. No. We don't need to hurt anybody in the process. Um okay. I had another question for you. It'll come to me. It'll come to me.
I'll
um
get a message later.
I know, right? I'm all like ping you at like 3 in the morning. Damn it, Snow. No. um crap. I can't remember what it was. Again, it'll come to me. But what part of you like are you the kind of person that can say no, there's definitely something out there? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, there's as much as I want to believe that I know everything and I know, yeah, I'll never know everything. I'll
Mm-hmm.
never know if there is that other plane or if it's just some weird scientific thing that we've never fully understood yet or
Right.
what it is. There's definitely something there because you know, throughout my life I've seen there's no way that these things can happen without some catalyst.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is, what is that catalyst?
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had a moment where you're wondering, like, okay, I gotta know how much of a parapsychology nerd you are. I guess you know what I mean, like, or like quantum, like like the like quantum reality kind of thing. Like, do you think that there are times that it's us interacting interacting with the past, like somehow we
So
does that make sense?
I yeah, I do kind of have a story related to that.
Ooh.
Um, kind of. Uh, at one point, I did have a dream in my life where I lived another life. Um, I've read that people have it happen before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember too much about it. Um, the little snippets that I do remember that I was a Chinese boy and I lived in an apartment building
What?
and I died because I got hit by a truck while I was playing with my friends.
Good job, dummy. Just kidding. No. um, golly. Yeah,
Um,
and I can't be the only person I've had that. I've had I've had two dreams of me living a past, but one was very it was almost like turn of the century. No, maybe a little past turn of maybe about 1930s. And I could see myself in like it seemed like I was in Spain, and like, and there was a war going on, and it was near, like, it started getting closer to our land, like where we were, and we were trying to celebrate something. And then I'm like trying to protect like my child, and I kind of throw myself under a car, like under like near a car, and I see someone else jump on a grenade, right? Like the person that I was with. And the crazy part was it was my ex-husband, but it didn't look like him. But I knew it was him. So, you know how they say like sometimes you're reliving with the same souls, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it threw me off because I was just like, I knew it was him, but it wasn't him. It was so strange. And then I had my kids too, but it was only 3 of my kids that were my kids out of my 5. And the one that I was like protecting was was one of them. I don't know exactly which one that baby was, but after I had jumped in front of like again under this car. I'm like holding the baby, and I'm blocking like I have my back towards where like I saw the person jump on the grenade, and then all of a sudden I feel 2 shots in my back. Just like pierce. And then I see white, and I'm in white. I'm wearing white. I'm in front of a church, and I see my 2 children, 2 of my children out of, remember I said like I actually have 5 now, but like only these 2 children, because there was actually 3. I see 2 children in my 2 of my children in my dream, and they're like talking to me, and it was weird because it was like I knew that they had passed, like these kids were dead before me, and like from what I understood was they were sick. These children died from a sickness like a few years back. And I was like, and I look at them and I was like, oh, like I was excited to see them, and I was just like, wait, am I dead? And they're like, yes. And I was like, where are we? And they're like, it's your funeral. And I look and I see one of, and it's funny because it wasn't it was my ex, but it was, hold on. So there's my ex-husband, and then there's my previous ex-husband, my first ex-husband. It was my first ex-husband's mom that was my quote unquote mother-in-law in this situation. But she also looked different, but I could tell who her soul was. So that was what was threw me off too. Again, right? And she was carrying the baby that I saved. And they were in my like at my funeral. And I'm watching, and they're all like and my kids were very much like, yeah, and I like I asked them like, do you feel anything? And they're like, no, we're just happy now. And I was very like, okay. And I was just like, do I have to leave? And they're like, only when you want to. And it was just very strange because I was like looking at my other baby, like yearning to like hold my other baby that I had saved. And it was weird because all of this again in a dream, but like very like so much context that I woke up being like, oh my God, that was my past life. That's what happened. And then I researched Spain around that time frame, and there was a civil war during that time. And then obviously the Spanish flu, you know? So I was like, oh, is that how I lost my children? Did I lose them in to that sickness? And then was I a victim, or like, was I a casualty of that war? It's just crazy. So I think like I don't know if you could say that that's like paranormal. Maybe it's I don't know. Supernatural? I don't.
think I think it still classed under paranormal. I think.
It's just strange. And like I'd never I remember waking up thinking I was still with my ex-husband at the time, and I remember like waking up and being like, oh my god, I had the strangest dream. And I could see like what I was wearing, like everything. And again, I felt the bullets. Like I fully felt the piercing, the pain, and the warmth of my blood like spilling. And I remember thinking like, this is it, and just kind of like like holding tighter to the baby, and just like hoping that the baby wouldn't be hurt. And that was it. It was such a strange feeling. Like I woke up, I remember waking up crying because I was like, oh my god, like you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
what?
waking up was the weird part.
Yeah, and and again, it was a weird part because in my dream, I was literally talking about like being able to move on, and then I wake up and I'm here and I'm like, what the fuck? What the, you know what I mean? Like, what? Didn't I do this already? Like, you know, it's just strange. Did you when you when you when you knew you were like a little boy, or you had like the memory of a little boy, did you feel yourself get hit? Did you see the hit? You know what I mean?
From what I remember, the last thing that happened before I woke up was I heard the honk.
Oh, like really heavy on like your yeah.
I don't remember if I saw anything. I don't remember if I saw the truck or if I felt the hit. I
Mm-hmm.
do remember the honk, and then I was awake in my bed.
Wow. Wow.
And that messed me up for a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
I remember not going to school those 2 days. I
Uh-huh.
never really explained it to my mom because I didn't, especially back then, I didn't think that she would understand.
Uh-huh.
I remember I faked sick and I just kind of laid in bed for 2 days and tried to figure out what just happened.
Wow. I don't know. I know that we've heard, what was it? We've heard of like that story. Maybe you've heard it too. Like the boy that like came across like a sins of the hourglass. Thank you. Um, what was it? They came across a young boy who like said he remembered being a pilot and like all this stuff, and he remembered
I,
like,
I think I
do you
know
remember
exactly the
that?
one you're talking about.
It's like a little boy, yeah, a little boy, and he remembers being shot down in a
Yeah,
plane.
and he told his parent, like his parents were like watching the History Channel or something, and he goes, "That I flew those."
Right. Right, exactly. He was like, I flew those, and then he even said the name of his plane.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. It's trippy. It's trippy how that shit happens. Just saying. Just I'm just saying. Um, and I know that and then there was another instance. A little girl, in Germany. I believe it was Germany or Sweden. I can't remember. It was just I just know that like it's extremely threw off her parents. A European country. We're gonna just go with that. And she's speaking gibberish, or what she believes is gibberish, or what they believe is gibberish, and then they realize that she's speaking Chinese, and they were like, "What happened? Like, where did that come from?" And she asks to go somewhere in China, and out of curiosity, they're like, "Okay, let's go." You know, let's see what this is all about. So they actually go into that like one little like town, she runs to like this house, like she can it's like she has the full memory of where she lived. She runs to this house. This extremely old man is there, and she was like, "It's me." And then she says her nickname that this man had for her in her past life. I guess it was like her husband, and he's like, you know what I mean? And she's just completely thrown. I just think that those stories are like, I know we went from like a ghost experience to like,
I mean,
I
it
guess
could be also one.
otherworldly, right? Like other
Yeah,
uh interdimensional. Like what would it be?
it could just be as simple as spirits reaching out,
Different
trying to get
timeline.
that story across, or
Right. See, and that's the thing too. Is it are these memories, are these actual past life progressions, or are they spirits trying to show you what they went through? And it's so vivid to you that you feel like it's your memory, not theirs.
yeah.
That'd be trippy. How do we know? We won't know until we're dead. And even then, I don't
I would
really
hate
like, you
to.
know what I mean? Like,
I would hate to be that old man though.
right? Like, who
Imagine
are
you're a
you?
Chinese old man and you see this young European girl, little girl, run in and tell her, say the nickname of your old wife.
Oh no, what was the other one? There was
I
the one
remember
of the soul
one
of the
where it
soul
was.
hopping. Have you heard of that? Like the
I remember
spirit
one
jump?
where it was they solved his murder.
There was one woman who solved her own murder, or like who didn't solve her
Like
own
she got
murder,
hit in
but
the head with
like,
like a shovel or something.
oh, this is something else. Oh my god, what did you hear? Okay, because there is one, a documented case, an actual case in the United States of a woman who testifies against her own murderer through her mother, like by visiting her mother at night. And then like the testimony winds up being true. Like they notice on the like autopsy and stuff like that. Like they finally like, what's it called when they pull the body out of the thing, exhume, right,
Yeah,
the
the
body
exhumed.
again. And sure enough, they see the markings of her being strangled and all this stuff. And then her ex-husband gets tried for murder. Like it gets officially like um whatever, charged.
Yeah.
And then he dies like a few years later in prison. But it was just like, whoa, what? Like she quite literally and everybody kept thinking like that was the village crazy lady, because she kept like saying like, no, my daughter keeps telling me that somebody killed her. He killed her. He killed her. He killed her. Like she was just like, no, like, you know. And then sure enough, it wound up being true. And I'll
What's it
find it. I
called?
know
My wife.
Mr. Ballin covered the story, and it's a really good story. And I think I have it in one of my books too. But you heard one about a man who solved his murder?
I can't remember if it was a man or a woman. They It was kind of the same idea of the one with the Chinese that we were talking about.
Okay.
It was some island somewhere. I can't remember what it was, but they went. They had to research what dialect the kid was using because she started speaking
Uh huh.
this random language, and then it turned out it was like this small village
Mhm.
on I think it was like in the Indonesian islands,
Oh.
and they went there, and this kid walks over to like their grave site or whatever, or the grave site of this person, says this is where they buried me after I got murdered.
Oh wow.
And everyone's like, wait, murdered? What are you talking about? And like it became this like whole thing. And then this kid started finally yelling at this one guy, and eventually he broke down and confessed that he hit this person in the back of the head with a shovel
Oh my
and killed
god.
them.
It's like Coco. I'm just kidding. No.
Like, and it's like, oh shit.
Oh my god. See, and I've always wondered, like, if that's how, like, you can help some people, like, find their rest. Like, are there moments that reincarnation happens because you're given that, like, chance to find rest, right? Like, because that's the only way you're gonna find rest is by, like, addressing it in the next life.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Like something, like some situation puts you in that position, and now you're given a chance to rectify that one situation.
Right. Or some people will have to redo it because they fucked up that badly, and now they have to get their karma in the next life.
Yep.
Wow. I don't know. I don't even know how much further to go with that because I feel like we could dive a lot deeper and yeah.
A lot deeper into most of the subjects.
Right. Wow. I can't like I guess one day one day we'll find out. One day we'll know the truth. We'll know it, why and what and how. Is
One
the
day we'll
earth
know if
round? Is it
we're all
flat?
crazy.
Is it I don't know. I don't know how I feel about all that either, but that's another conversation for another day. But like, like are the things that scare us like actually things that are scaring us, or are they again, is it us, like a different timeline crossing ours in the moment? Or have you heard like that theory of like you being your own ghost, like of
Yeah.
your own memory behind, like before, or like a time where like something like traumatic happened to you or whatever, like in your just like a few years before, winds up
Like an
replaying,
alternate version
so
of
that
you.
energy, yeah, so that energy is like just kind of recreates itself at random times. So then you're like, you think that like you're being haunted, but really it's your memory
It's just
replaying.
the other you.
Yeah.
Like
That's,
you think you didn't move that glass of milk, but you did.
oh yeah. That's just my ADHD, but yeah, I don't know. Or deja vu. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Is that the other you going ahead of time?
Or like
And then you remember?
something else happened. Yeah, and then
And then there's a glitch in the matrix? Exactly.
ugh,
God, I'm so tired of those glitches in the matrix.
fix the code, damn it.
Damn it. Damn it, Neo. Okay. I don't know. I feel like there's so many more things to question about it, but I I appreciate your time. I appreciate your conversation. I appreciate your insight on different things as well, because I feel like, when you kind of talk to somebody else who's more like, yeah, no, I think it's there, but I don't have any like certainty of anything because these are just my personal experiences. Like it is nice to talk to somebody else. It's like based off my personal experiences, this is why I think it's there.
Yeah.
But I can't, And I think with that being said, I think more people need to trust themselves in that.
Just not doubt what they've
Yeah,
experienced.
exactly. Like don't I guess gaslight yourself is the best way of saying it. Into 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 thinking that you aren't in some way gifted or aren't um given like that opportunity to help somebody find peace or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe if we just started like accepting it like they used to back in the like way back in the day, when like people who were considered sensitive
Way
and
back
stuff,
then.
yeah, they were considered like wise, right? Like these were the people that had the answers because they had that sensitivity like turned on. So
Not like the witch days. Those are
except those, yeah, but that was when stupid King James started going hoorah because of what's her face, like, a I guess she was a witch, but like she basically like turned him down, and he was just like, oh, whatever, like she's cursing me, whatever. Like he just started like he couldn't handle the rejection, so he was like, ah, she's a witch. But like, and then made it like a bigger deal. And then when he was having, at the same time as when the Bible was being rewritten, so he made sure that that was in there. You know,
Gotta be in there.
like people don't like to talk about that, but like, and then that's when the movement happened, right? So there was like the like 1500s to the 15 late 1500s to 1600s, when they had like all the like the witch trials through Europe, and then obviously it winds up hitting America too. So it's like, and it wasn't just, and it was like different parts of Europe, right? So they had witch trials in like England and Spain, and right, like they were just kind of going like the church against the people, the quote unquote church against the people, right? It's just, and again, out of ignorance, there's that whole ignorance drives fear, which drives hatred. So it's just interesting. But yeah, like when you really like kind of go back to like when we did kind of believe that our energy was our energy influenced the world around us, and the world around us influenced our energy, things like that. Like once we allowed ourselves to recognize this person is sensitive, which means that they've been granted wisdom by spirits, or they've been, you know what I mean, there was a
Yeah.
completely different respect for it. And I feel like that's also what like just feeds into a lot of anxiety and stuff now, because, or paranoia, or because there's not a way to be taught that no, that's something that you're gifted with, and you're okay,
I think it's slightly coming back.
I
The
think
idea
so. I
of
think there's
of
like
accepting.
an enlightenment coming back.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Ever since people started, getting more into with psychics and
I think, and what's funny is I think that all of it started, like the whole new age movement and stuff like that. I think, like, yeah, people want to say, oh well, it's them just trying to get away from church and blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, actually, I think it's people actually just really seeking spirituality over a man-made doctrine, right?
yep.
And like we're going back towards that. We're leaning back towards that. And isn't that how like faith started in the first place? Like, like you knew that there was more because of your own personal experience. Like the reality is, who's to say that Abraham wasn't just high on shrooms? Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Who just
Like
like we
right,
know like Jesus was a real person, but who's to say he didn't walk into the desert and drink some cactus juice?
right.
And
And then all of a sudden he he was an avatar. Like you know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
like
exactly.
right, yeah. Like what is it that made every person come out with these super abilities back then, but we pretend like they don't exist now. We're the same people, same DNA. You know, I don't know. It's just
Like where's
interesting.
the
I feel,
disconnect? Yeah.
yeah. I feel like a disconnect came from. I'm gonna say it like how we were starting to get governed. That's the best way to say that. Because the more confidence we find in ourselves through our own spirituality, the less likely we are to be controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't take me down, YouTube, okay? But at any rate, I think it's cool to see that the movement's coming back, or like a spiritual movement is coming back. Um and I think, with like people with like the whole witchcraft and stuff like that, I think honestly, like credit to us being able to look into more things that we never really had access to. Like yeah, we have like the world of a library at our fingertips, right? And it's not just that, like we also have um what is it, the Freedom of Information Act. Like all that stuff starts waking you up, literally, right? In the sense of your mind is no longer thinking the MK Ultra was just a conspiracy theory, or you know what I mean. Like now all
Huh.
these things are coming out as reality, and it's like, so what else was real?
Like what else?
What else
Yeah, what
has
else are they
been
covering?
yeah, what else has been handed down by word of mouth? The way that we learned history that for thousands of years
Was word
through
of mouth.
storytelling, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, people are still telling the stories, but then they sound crazy because it's not going with what the mainstream history is saying.
Because it's not written down and it's not
Right.
verified
Right.
and
Like, and is it not verified, or do we just not know where to find it? And then all of a sudden things start coming out and it's like, so then that could have been true. So then maybe that is real. So then, like, maybe there is life after death, or maybe there is, because all these other things are pointing to yes, even though we've been told no for so long. It's I don't know. It's cool. It's interesting. It's cool to see the movement. I'm happy. I'm happy to see more people kind of like waking up to the questions. It just has to start with the questions, at least,
yeah, it has to start with more people willing to ask those questions.
Right. Right. And yeah, I feel like you're not really pushing boundaries if all you're doing is showing your curiosity.
Yep.
But I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Well, again, Josh, thank you. Thank you again for
Of course.
hanging with me. Thank you for taking time out of your night. I know it's a lot later for you than it is for me, so I hope you
Oh, I'm a night
have
owl. You're fine.
your night out. Okay, good to know. Um, but yeah, if you ever feel like coming on again, having another conversation, even if we have like somebody else in, we kind of like just move a panel about different conspiracies or whatever. We can totally do that sometime too. But I'm happy. I'm happy we connected. I'm happy I was able to have you here today. And yeah, just reach out if you have anything else you want to share, or anything else that you think that you're down to like have a conversation over. It was great
Yeah,
having
no,
you.
I will definitely reach out to you.
Thank you, Josh. You have a wonderful evening.
You enjoy the rest of your evening. I gotta go feed a cat.
You go feed the
I'm being
cat.
stared at. I'm
I
being stared at currently with anger.
That's cute. That's really funny. Well, have a wonderful, wonderful night, and I'll keep in touch. Enjoy the
All right.
enjoy
Sounds
the enjoy,
good.
enjoy the Discord. Please jump in there and skip about and go see what you'd like and such.
I shall indeed.
Thank you.
Yeah, see ya.
See ya. All right, guys. Well, I can say that was a pretty fun interview. I'm happy that I did that. I do want to have more live interviews, live podcasts. Obviously, after this, I will upload this to Spotify, so the actual podcast will be on there too. But again, thank you for watching Snow Scary Adventures. If you want to be a part of the podcast, please just message us. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bones. Please just message us on or message me, sorry. Anywhere through X, through well, I don't really accept messages on Discord, but you can like ping me. Um and or look at me through on Snow Scary Adventures on Instagram as well, or Facebook. Look for those groups, and I look forward to talking to you all. I'm going to be ending stream here, but I will be going on to my Touch of Snow to possibly play some games in a little bit. So I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for joining.